It is our week 2 review. Everyone was losing their mind about the cornerbacks. Lenoir, 5th-round rookie. Josh Norman, what has he done? Everyone was freaking out. Hey, you know what? Niners defensive backs didn't look so bad, and that's what we're going to take a look at in this week's Patreon recap. We have got 4 plays for you, plus a little bonus spinneroo at the end, because you got to throw a little extra sauce at the end to look at, to show you exactly how the 49ers defensive backs performed, which is going to be really an area of focus, especially going into this week 3 game against the Green Bay Packers. And so we start out with a play where the 49ers are in man coverage. And this is going to be a play that a lot of cover 3 teams are going to see. It's going to have a crosser from Devonta Smith. He's going to be over here at the bottom of the screen. It's going to go across the field, but the 49ers lock it all up, and all of the defensive backs play well, and Lenoir almost gets a hand on the ball.
Yeah, so I mean, something that we saw a lot from the 49ers in this game was a lot more man coverage. And so you can see initially here pre-snap, right, you've got everybody kind of aligned over their man. So everybody's eyes kind of on the man that they're going to be covering. You see the 3 guys that are over the bunch there, plus you've got Jimmy Ward down there in the box for the back, who's also aligned that side. The Eagles did a lot of 4 strong stuff, putting 4 receivers to one side of the field. So this is kind of an example of that. And then you, of course, have Lenoir at the bottom of the screen there on Devonta Smith. So you've got everybody locked up underneath. And then, of course, you have Jaquiski Tartt there as your deep free safety. And so, yeah, in terms of, kind of the new corners, right, the new starting corners, I think this is a really good play for both these guys. Starting with Norman at the top there. Really playing to his help. So again, with corners in this position where you have a receiver that's tight to the formation, you really want to play with outside leverage and make sure that you're there to take away any of the outbreaking stuff. And he's sitting there perfectly, right? So he's playing to his help. He's letting Jaquiski Tartt help if there's going to be anything breaking over the middle, or you can see here Tartt does also a great job of getting over the top. So he can kind of play underneath in that trail technique and make sure that he's all over that outbreaking route. And then Lenoir with honestly a really difficult route to cover. I mean, he's basically going to be on an island here. He's not going to be fortunate enough to have help from anyone else on this play. And he's got one of the fastest receivers in the league that's running across the field and is just a really difficult route to stay with. And as we get to kind of the end zone view here, you can see, I mean, he doesn't quite get a hand on this ball, but he is very much the reason that this is incomplete, because he just gives Hurts no window to throw this to. So you can see where his hand is. If this ball, yes, it is technically like a little bit overthrown, but if it's not, Lenoir's right there and he's getting his hand on it, right? So this is excellent coverage and really taking this route away.
Yeah, undercutting the ball is something that defensive backs who get interceptions do, and he puts himself in a position to make a play on the ball. If it's a better throw, it may be a pick, but if it's not, then he's still in a position to really break it up. It's just good positioning, good awareness in space. We're not going to show you the play on the sideline where he forces the wide receiver out of bounds, but similar situation, just good awareness in space. And the Eagles did a lot of this kind of 3-level stretch to one side of the field a lot. You'll actually see that feature prominently in the next couple of plays. But this play is the second one. This is actually going to be a bust. It's a busted coverage. It comes out of quarters coverage. This is something that Josh Norman, hey, he's been on the team for 17 minutes. So understandable that he may have a bust or two. But we're going to show you 2 plays back to back. This one is going to be the bust, so you can see what they did wrong. The next play is going to be actually some corners doing it right and show you how the play should be run. In this coverage, though, is quarters. Another coverage that the Niners played heavily in this week. They did not play so much last week.
Yeah, so Norman is going to be up at the top here. And so this is something, pretty common type of route concept that you're going to see against quarters coverage a lot, right? So you're really going to test the communication between the corner and the safety if teams are going to switch it. Or you're basically have 2 really difficult routes to cover if the corner and the safety is going to kind of match this up. So again, you see from the Eagles here a 2-by-2 set, right? I've got 2 receivers on one side, 2 receivers on the other. So in quarters, my safeties are really going to be eyes on that number 2 receiver, right? The inside slot guy. And typically if he does anything where he runs vertically, they basically turn into man coverage and they're going to match that guy wherever he goes. And then if that's the case, you're going to see likely, unless for the corner on the outside, he's also going to be manned up unless that guy basically goes inside right away, right underneath on like a drag route or something. So you see both guys at the top there start with this vertical stem. So you're thinking that you're probably going to kind of lock on those guys. But once they cross here, the 49ers like to play this where they switch it. So you can see Jimmy Ward turn and open for this post, right? He's all over it to go take away the post. And he's actually pointing at Norman, be like, hey, you're supposed to be back there. You're supposed to peel off this and take that outbreaking route. So this was kind of the only big, I feel like miscommunication with Norman where he just really clearly wasn't in the right spot and doing the right thing. Really, other than, the penalties that he had, this was kind of the most negative play he had on the day, I thought.
Now, it's good to see this play with someone doing it right, and that's going to be Deommodore Lenoir, someone who has been playing very, very well. And this is going to be a very, very similar concept, and the Niners are going to have a very similar coverage call. They will similarly be in quarters. But now Lenoir, who's at the bottom of the screen, is going to show you how this play is supposed to be run with a very, very similar concept. You see the post, you see the out route, but now you see Lenoir fall off, take the out route, and you've got the post safety there, and he also reacts and is able to break up the deep post. And so that's how it's supposed to look. This is two DBs that have been playing well and have been playing well together, communicating effectively and breaking up a deep shot that, if they do miscommunicate at all, is going to be probably a house call.
Yeah, I mean, excellent play by Ward here, but yeah, you see them really pass this off beautifully. And again, it's the same setup, 2x2 from Philadelphia, same coverage concept from the 49ers. So they're really getting the exact same look here. And you see, again, like you mentioned, how it is supposed to work here.
All right, let's get to a fifth play, though. And this is just going to be the little extra sauce at the end of the play. Oh, wait,
nope.
Do we have one more?
One more.
Oh, that's right. This is going to be the deep ball to Lenoir because this is just a play where you've got a lot of things happening, especially on the front. So this is going to be really a play where the Niners bring some pressure, and Jalen Hurts sees the pressure, tries to take a deep shot, but the Niners are in a position to break up that deep shot because of both the safety play and the corner play and everything working together.
Right. So as we've kind of let it run here a couple times so you can get a feel for the play. Lenoir is going to be, right, of course, the guy up top who's covering Devonta Smith on this play. So kind of focus in on him first, right? So I think this is a really tough coverage assignment, one. So he's with Devonta Smith. He's up there in press. And again, Devonta Smith has been just incredible so far at defeating the press, and he's just so slippery up there on the line of scrimmage. And then, of course, we know about the speed, right? So he's in a tough spot, right? He gets a little bit of hands-on, but it's tough to get in this foot race with Devonta Smith here. And so he gives up a little bit, right? He is, at this point, if you had to pick who had better position, it is definitely Devonta Smith, right? He's on top. He's got just a touch of separation there. But Lenoir's largely keeping pace. And the thing that's important to note, too, about this is, it's such a deep throw, right? At this point, even before Hurts has just let go of the ball. And you're already talking about a receiver that's 20 yards or so downfield already, just at release points. This is going to be a pass that goes nearly 60 yards in the air. So the thing is he's keeping up at a pace well enough that it's going to be near impossible for any quarterback to put this in a perfect spot 60 plus yards in the air downfield, right? So he's leaving himself in position that he's pretty much always going to have a chance to play this because it's inevitably going to be underthrown a little bit. And so I think what we see is a very good job from him not interfering, right? He doesn't tackle him to the ground. He's able to kind of gather himself, get there, and knock that ball down before Smith gets there, right? So I think that's going to be the big thing on the play. But the other interesting thing here, if you watched our videos last year, you may recognize this as the Kings concept that they like to run, which is an adjustment to their fire zone, right? So we're going to end up in what is normally a 3 deep, 3 under coverage, but they're going to actually bring an extra blitzer here, right? And they do this against this type of formation specifically, which is 3x1. So I've got 3 receivers down at the bottom of the screen, my 1 at the top, and my 3 receivers are to the wide side, right? So that's the important part there, and I have the back to the boundary, to the short side of the field. when they do this, they basically want to blitz the player who is typically going to be responsible for that back, because a lot of times they can force him to really stay in and protect. And so you get an extra rusher there and try to get some pressure on the quarterback. And this was something that they didn't show really in week one, was successful here. I mean, you get the hit on Hurts, and it was something that they ran a few other times in this game.
Yeah, overall, I think Lenoir just plays composed. It doesn't seem like things are too big for him. It would have been very easy for him to go full Josh Norman here and get a flag, but he doesn't. He stays in phase. He's able to put himself in a position to succeed, probably a little more so than Jimmy Ward, who kind of gets stuck looking in the backfield. And look, Jimmy Ward knows it. Jimmy Ward knows it. He points at him. He's like, bro, that was all you. That was all you, Demo, because it was a good play against a tough coverage assignment because, yes, Devonta Smith is slippery. Very, very, very slippery. He's even, maybe in a position even to pick that ball off. So overall, I think Lenoir is playing very, very well. He's another fifth-round gem. Josh Norman did not play poorly, despite what we're about to show you. Because I've been waiting. I've been waiting the entire video
for you
this,
right here. Yep.
This makes me so happy. I love it because he's trying so hard. He's like, I get to play football. Someone is paying me. And yes.
And I'm going to go out and try to get an unnecessary roughness penalty nearly immediately on the second possession of the game. Just let me go out there and take somebody's head off.
Just some kind of a spinning lariat right over a defender. I don't even know if that's a word. It's going to be.
Yeah, I have no idea what you just said, but
it's. I think honestly, it's from an old wrestling video game on N64. Maybe I'll have to ask the research department about this. But man, overall, I think even though Josh Norman had a bust, and even though Josh Norman's over here basically doing spiral macaroni over a Eagles receiver, he did not have a bad game. He could have been much worse. Like we saw last season against Miami, someone coming in late and all of a sudden it's just, why are you playing? You should not be here. That was not the kind of game Josh Norman had. He didn't really do anything exceptionally well, but at the same time, he wasn't really a liability, which for at least the game is really what you needed.
Right. I think that's the big thing, right? I don't think there were necessarily a ton of overly positive plays. I mean, he did definitely have some snaps where he was a little stickier and was playing well in man coverage and a lot of the cover one stuff that they were doing. But yeah, he was, beat a little bit here and there. He had the couple penalties, but I think, when you consider the full context of it, right, coming in, not having a lot of time with the team and learning the scheme and all of that kind of stuff, like, you could have done a lot worse at that position. So I thought overall, what he did was encouraging, and you hope that there's some room there as he gets more comfortable, more familiar what they're doing defensively, that he can slot in and not be terrible, which is, I think, a big win for them right now at the cornerback position.
It is. It's all the Niners could ask for. They have 3 tough games coming up where their corners will be tested and they will need them to perform. Emmanuel Mosley will hopefully be back. We'll see who ends up starting against the Green Bay Packers, and it'll probably be a little bit of everyone with the kind of formations that they play. But that does it for this week's Patreon breakdown. Everybody was worried about the corners. It's okay. It's okay. The fifth round saves the Niners once again. But thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And as always, go Niners.